Okay.
So hey man, like as you can see, like we have an entire blueprint and a step-by-step process, right?
Yep.
And what that means for you is that when you choose to hire us as your agent, we're going to immediately implement this based off of your timelines to make sure that we get you the home that you want at the price that you want and the terms that you want. And for all of the work that we're going to do to protect you, there's going to be some commissions that are paid, which would be reasonable, right, for the work that's being done for you, correct?
That makes sense.
Now, before we move forward, was there anything else that we didn't cover or anything that you wanted to cover outside of compensation and commissions?
No, dude, this has been real thorough so far.
Yeah, cool, man. So I know there's a lot of things, and with your permission, I can go over the four ways we're compensated. Would that be helpful if I could do that?
Yeah, please.
Cool, because I'm sure you've heard about the two big changes here from the recent lawsuit, right? And I do believe they're better, but just to recap on them, one is a buyer agent like me can no longer provide real estate services to a buyer like you without a signed agreement, right? Just like an attorney, right? They need to be retained. And the second is, and the reason why that's important is because now you'll know exactly how we're compensated, right? And the second is the listing agent's office, right, which normally was paid the buyer's agent's office, can no longer do that. We've decoupled it so that the seller can pay our office directly, right? But we'll get into all that in a second. So who would have thought that buying a home is so nuanced, right? Like most people just think you go, you get a house, you put a contract, you take a picture, slap it on Instagram, right?
Right.
But one of the biggest problems when buyers come to us is the same exact thing you mentioned, right? It's like, how do I find the home when there's such little inventory and get a good deal on it? Well, how do I get the representation too so that I don't get screwed? Because like you mentioned, Hawaii's got all these crazy laws and I don't know them. So like, how do I stay protected so that I don't get hit with, like you showed me that HOA lawsuit and not be able to use my house or get like $100,000 in back taxes 2 years later? Um, because this is, I would assume, one of your larger purchases, right?
It is.
Also one of the most complex purchases, right?
Yeah.
And like if you think about the car buying experience, I mean, most people, you might be the exception. Most people, when they buy a car, it's not something they're looking forward to, right? They're looking forward to the new car, but nobody really looks forward to the process. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And have you ever bought a car where it wasn't the best experience? Did it feel kind of felt like the whole
Yeah.
thing was working against you to help you buy a car? But it was like first you had to go to the finance department, then you had the sales guy tell you he can't do this, then they're trying to sell you pay protection. It's like, why can't you guys just do this all up front and make my life easy like CarMax and just lump everything in, and then I could say what I want and take off what I don't want and just make it easy. Kind of the same thing here. Like everybody has representation except for the buyer. The seller has representation, title and escrow is covered, but the buyer, which is the one doing all the hard work, which is the one that's taking all the risk, is just like when you're out there buying a car, you're naked and afraid sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So what we do, right? The way we're going to solve that for you is we have our systems to manufacture inventory, right? We then help you craft a winning offer based off of strategy and predictive pricing and activity, right? We're then gonna, like, it's not over yet. We're then gonna work with your finance department so that they can help present you to the listing agent so that the listing agent sees you in a better light than everybody else, right? The fun actually starts when we're in contract though, because everything we do doesn't matter if we don't actually win the offer. So during that process, we have our 4 outs, and that's when we do the due diligence, right? And we can help you from the inspections to the appraisals, the financing to closing. Finally, when all of that's done, and the dust is settled, we're going to help our team's going to help ensure that the title and the escrow and the funding and the appraisals are seamlessly working together so that the money goes from you, from them, to the seller, to escrow, right? And you get the keys and you get to sign and move in, right? And,
Sounds
and
good.
What does all this mean for you? Like, what does all this mean is that you're going to get the home that you want at the price that you want and the terms that you want. Any questions about what we just discussed specifically?
No, I mean it's a lot, but no,
That, who would have thought, right?
seriously.
And I guess like if you had us on your side, what would that mean for you, like in the middle of negotiations or during like a nasty inspection? Whatever you guys showed them inside of the presentation is you're going to bring that up here. Show flow
Uh,
demo. So whatever you have up here.